does that take me back? That's number 24 on the jukebox where we once went.
Is that right?
That's right, number 24, Born to be Wild.
You and me?
Oh, yeah.
Where, at the
And
Heidelberg?
Pete. No, at J&A's. And then the other pieces you want smaller and finer. So your fingers are going to give you the best uneven texture. And barely work it till it's, to that texture. And then you add the liquid enough to barely bring it together. And then you roll it out, and everything stays cold. You might even give it a few minutes. So
that's why when you're working with your hands, even the heat, your body temperature...
That's why you have to work fast.
That's why you have to work fast, because it will warm up that butter.
And our dad would soak his fingers in ice water.
I didn't know that.
Yes. He would also do that when he's frying chickens, so that he could actually touch it with it very quickly. So it's basically working really quick. And you roll it out, and then you brush it with melted butter, cinnamon and sugar.
Lots of butter, lots of cinnamon,
lots of sugar.
Yeah, as much as the butter will hold with the...
Really young we would make these, and then we'd take the coffee pot upstairs, plug it in their bedroom, and we would take these cinnamon rolls up while they were still in bed.
You know what? I think it's all that we did for them before we became teenagers that enabled us to remain a part of the Kelly family through our teenage years. I really think that could be true.
As we all know, teenagers are the reason that some species eat their young. You remember making breakfast and bread for Mom and Dad?
All the time.
We were like 9 years old, but we always did it for things like...
One of the special things we would like to make is cinnamon rolls. But they weren't yeasted cinnamon rolls.
Dad was talking about that to me this morning, except he's taken it to the next level. He wanted me to suggest that you make he was saying like a biscuit recipe, but I remember using...
We used a pie crust dough.
And it was on the Pyrex. Remember the Pyrex
Tupperware? You know those Tupperware rubber plastic mats that would come with...
With the red circles, it tells you what size the pie was, so you're supposed to make the... I know everybody, if you ever had one, you know what we're talking about.
Pie recipe on that little plastic board.
Thing,
yeah, roll-up board. And so, Joy of Cooking has a basic pie recipe.
And that's what we would do. And so you
roll it out
the important thing when you're making recipes like that is working quickly, not over-mixing the fat ingredient you're using, whether it's shortening or butter, and I often would use butter.
And you want the butter or shortening chilled.
Yes, and a pastry chef friend of mine always uses her fingers to incorporate, which sort of
instead of a pastry blender or a knife?
Yeah, because you want large. When you use a pastry cutter, it's all very evenly sized, and then you go to like this coarse cornmeal kind of texture, and everybody looks for these pea-sized little pieces of fat.
Globules coated with the flour.
In doing all my research on the biscuits, which I am, by the way, still
working on.
I made another batch this week.
Now we're talking, because it's October and it's Halloween and we're talking about creepy things, we found a really cool book called Strange Foods.
Okay, so here we have, this is called Peeps, P-E-P-E-S. It's a Balinese dish, and it actually sounds pretty interesting to me, and pretty to cook. You take a banana leaf, and into this banana leaf, which will be cooked over an open grill, one adds garlic, ginger, lime, chilies, fish paste, tamarind paste. Now tamarind is actually, it's like a pod, and inside are these little beans, and they make into a paste that...
They take the beans and turn them into a paste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Long process. But what you end up with is, it tastes like sweet tarts, and it's used to season all sorts of things, stews and vegetables, and all, you can make salad dressings out of it. It's really yummy. So we tamarind paste, MSG, coconut paste, and freshly caught dragonflies.
Yum!
But of course, you would remove the wings first because they get stuck in your teeth.
Oh, yeah, I hate getting fly wings stuck in my teeth.
So that might be a fun Halloween treat.
Yeah.
So that would be a fun one.
That one ought to fly off the table.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. All right. So, do we have time for another quick Halloween recipe?
I think so, yes.
Alrighty. In the meantime, get your pens out. This one is a Thai recipe for the inquisitive palate. And again, this is from the book called Strange Foods. This is just a blast to read. This would be a great one to get to read with your kids. This one calls for...
Little boys.
Yeah. This one calls for one snake. And it's not specific about what kind of snake, so I guess, we're always promoting seasonal...
General garden variety.
Come on, Bridge. We're always promoting local and seasonal. We don't have boas around here.
Okay, so go in your backyard and find
maybe
a snake.
A garter, yeah.
Right.
1 tablespoon of chili peppers, 1 tablespoon dehydrated rice, which is pounded into a powder, of course, probably in your, mortar and pestle.
Yeah,
and which we all have.
Yeah, I always go to great lengths for my
snake. Fresh coriander, finely chopped onions, 2 tablespoons fish sauce, 5 or 6 cups water, chop the chili, always pound the rice into powder. Now, what you want to do with the snake...
Yes,
and
get
this
right
is
to the snake.
Very important. You want to scorch it over an open flame, kind of like what we've done with eggplant.
There you go.
And that helps you to remove the scales, and then you're going to chop it up, and you want it well, you're going to remove, of course, the guts, and then you cut it into strips 3 to 5 inches long, and then you boil it all until the snake is tender. It takes about an hour.
Yum.
Yeah, and then, of course, you would serve it with sticky rice.
Well, I think you've just gone over a great menu for what I can serve that on Halloween. My house is just
Taylor?
a hub of activity.
Taylor will love it.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what show was on this morning either.
I don't believe him.
We were doing monkfish.
You guys were talking about something.
We
You were having a good
I
time.
think we were doing monkfish, one of the
Monkfish.
ugliest little fish you've ever had to look at, but
It is.
man,
It's
is it
an ugly
tasty.
fish.
It really is.
It's good.
It is tasty.
It's good.
It was our poor man's offering for lobster and lovers meals.
I
So,
see.
you know, lobster.
I wanted to do
Well done.
lobster, and everybody's going, you know, Meg, they're not going to do it at home. You know?
Well, some will.
The ones that will
lobster-
are already doing it. Was basically
Lobster's a
what it was.
challenge. It's so much involved.
Is and it isn't. It's one of those things that
You can have fun making a big mess though.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but you know, you're spending a lot of money, and there's small windows that if you go past that window, you can totally mess it up.
Right. I don't think people like to kill the lobsters.
No, but I do want to give them just a little bit of help in terms of dropping that live lobster in the vat of boiling water.
How are you going to help people do that, Bridge?
Well, the lobsters aren't actually screaming. People think that the lobsters are crying when you do
when they're
that.
hissing.
Yeah, when the hissing
Uh-huh.
comes out, the lobster
No,
is
that's
not
just
crying.
the flesh ripping away from their exoskeleton. It's not actually.
It's steam.
It's not a physical
It is the steam.
manifestation of pain. It's simply their flesh ripping away from them. You know what, Steve? I think that if
Program's off to a beautiful
We're
start.
going south today. As a matter of fact, we are going south. We're going to Texas. Tejas. Is that?
That's correct.
Before we go to Texas, I just wanted to make the comment. Like Steve said, you're right, that people don't much care to actually do the dirty deed. If people had to go out and harvest their own meals
That's
from
right.
scratch, there'd be a lot more people out there eating what Steve likes to call rabbit food.
You know what? There'd be the American populace would be a lot thinner. We wouldn't have
Probably.
this weight problem that we have, I don't think.
Yep.
Of course, we could still fry potatoes and fry other things and
I
manage.
can fry anything.
I believe that we Americans could actually find a way to get fat without,
We'd find a
even
way.
without meat.
All right, let's head south.